He didn't sleep that night, pacing his room like a madman, shirt discarded, veins taut in his forearms, as he rubbed a hand down his face for the 10th time. Every time her cry echoed in her memory, it cut deeper. Meanwhile, inside the room, Wine had curled up on the floor. The mattress felt too soft, but her eyes burned. Her throat was sore, but the worst part was that he left. She didn't even want him to come in, and yet he left. She whispered into the darkness, voice hoarse. Wine, you took everything from me and still walked away when I broke? The door didn't open. No footsteps, nothing. Next morning, when she opened the door, her legs nearly gave out from exhaustion. But what shocked her wasn't her own state. It was him, Jungkook, in the hallway, sitting against the opposite wall, elbows on his knees, head bowed, eyes closed but not asleep. He had been there all night. She was about to ask him, but then she stopped and just walked by, making him open his eyes. His eyes slowly opened, red rimmed but calm. Jungkook immediately asked, Are you okay? He asked her because she was screaming last night, but she didn't know he heard her. Why? Why didn't you sleep? Planning to ruin another life? Jungkook, I didn't want to be too far, in case you screamed again. She froze, with her eyes widened. He stood up slowly, but she didn't move. So he nodded to himself, almost like he understood she didn't want him near. Jungkook quietly, You don't have to talk to me. I know what I did. I know what I've dragged you into. But I swear to God, Vine, I would never hurt you. Not like that. Not. He didn't know what made him so desperate to be accepted by her. But Vine cut him off. You already did. He flinched. For a man who had blood on his hands and hell in his past, he flinched like a child caught lying. Jungkook, I know. That's why I stayed out here. Just in case you needed me to come back in. And fine. And what? Finish what you started? The words were venom, but her voice cracked midway, her lips trembling, betraying the fire she was trying to fake. Jungkook looked like he wanted to say 100 things. His finger twitched at the sides, jaw clenched, but he didn't move closer. Jungkook, no, I stayed in case you needed to scream again. And I would be here, not to stop you, just to let you know someone is listening. Her chest heaved as she turned her face away from him, whined quietly. You think I will forgive you for this? Jungkook, no, I'd hate you if you did. He sighed and ran a hand through his already messy hair. Jungkook, I don't need your forgiveness. I just needed you to know I was here. That's it. She looked at him again. He wasn't trying to make her feel sorry for him. He wasn't begging. He wasn't manipulating. He was just tired and maybe broken in his own way, just like her. She just turned away and walked down the hall, closing the door. To him, to his apologies, to his worries. It had been nearly a month. Jungkook hadn't touched her since that night. Instead, he quietly made space for her in a life full of silk sheets, warm breakfasts, and peace she never knew existed. Fine. Once working 16-hour shifts to pay for her mother's surgery and feed her younger brother, now lived like a princess. At first, she resented the ease until she overheard him one night, quietly thanking a hospital director for finding a donor for her mother, a donor she had searched months for. He told them never to mention his name to her. That night, something shifted. She still couldn't forgive him, but she started to see him not as a monster, but a man with more scars than she could count. In the morning, Jungkook leaned against the kitchen counter, arms crossed as he watched her quietly sip her tea by the window. He said nothing, neither did she. Wang didn't look at him, but her voice came steady. Fine. My mom is doing better. A pause before Jungkook smiled. Jungkook. That's good. Another pause. She still didn't face him. Fine. They found a donor. He stayed silent. She set the teacup down, finally turning around. Wine softly. You didn't want me to know, did you? His jaw tensed. He made sure no one would tell her about him. But he took a deep breath and didn't lie this time. Jungkook, I just wanted you to have peace. After everything that happened to you, Wine stared at him for a long time, then took a slow step closer. Wine, you're making it very hard to hate you. He looked up at her, then really looked. The weariness in his eyes had faded in the past weeks, like he was learning how to exist around her without breaking her. Jungkook quietly, I don't need you to love me, Wine. Just breathe freely, without fear. She blinked fast at the sudden burn behind her eyes, but she didn't cry. Wine, you don't get forgiven easily. Jungkook nodded. He didn't argue. Jungkook, then I will wait. She looked down at her hands, lips twitching faintly. Wine, you always this stubborn? Jungkook, with a tired smile. Only for things that matter. And for the first time, she smiled. Just a little. Not forgiveness, not love, just a relief. A week later, he was in his study room, reviewing documents when the door opened slightly, and she came in. She stood at the edge of the room, waiting. He didn't look up, but he knew it was her. Jungkook, you don't have to know. Why? I didn't. He finally glanced up, eyes scanning her face because she never comes to him first. Jungkook, what is it? Fine. I want to go out tomorrow. Just for a few hours. Silence stretched between them. He leaned back in his chair. Jungkook, where? Fine. The market nearby. And a cafe. And maybe somewhere else. I just want normal air for a little while. He didn't reply immediately. He stood up, walking towards her until there were only a few inches left between them. Jungkook, you will take my driver. Good? She nodded slowly, but before she could turn to leave, he said quietly, Jungkook, don't run from me, Vine. You're not a prisoner anymore. But don't make me come looking. Deal? Vine swallowed. Deal. And for the first time, she saw the corner of his mouth twitch upward, just a little, maybe even a smile. The markets were bustling. She was halfway through the market, eyeing a box of strawberries, with a smile on her face and a calm heartbeat. She hadn't felt this open in a while, but then the street behind her went silent. She didn't notice right away until she looked up and saw a man, just across the stalls, staring at her. She didn't recognize him, but his eyes, they knew her, and his hand was reaching inside his coat. Her chest seized. A voice inside her screamed her to run, but she was frozen. Frozen while waiting for someone to save her, waiting for Jungkook to miraculously come here and save her. She had no thoughts except him at the moment. Then she heard a gunshot, followed by loud screams of people around. She stumbled back as the man in front of her fell down, but he never fired because Jungkook got there first and shot him. She gasped loudly. Her knees gave out, and Jungkook was already there, gripping her so tight it was like he didn't trust the world to keep her safe unless she was under his hands. Jungkook, are you okay? Did he touch you? His voice was hoarse, shaking. Vine, barely whispering, with her trembling lips. You came. He didn't know how desperately she wanted him to come and save her. And he did, in fact. She was relieved for once that she was in his arms, because now he gave her the feeling of being safe. Jungkook cupped her face with one hand. His thumb brushed under her eye, his hands trembling. Jungkook, you think I would let anyone get to you before me? Fine. I I didn't think about anything else. Just you. The words slipped out before she could stop them. Jungkook stared at her like her confession hit deeper than the danger ever did. His grip tightened. Jungkook, you don't have to think about anything else, Vine. Not until I'm here. And this time, when he pulled her into his chest, she didn't resist, because it didn't feel like a cage anymore.